Hey guys, welcome to At Home Fitness with Coach A. It is Wednesday, October 21st, and we are on day number 220 of our At Home Fitness programming series. This is the YouTube channel that aims to bring you guys in-gym quality coaching and workouts for your at-home or garage gym needs. Now, here's what we're looking at for today. We are on our second round of testing for the week. We're going to be doing our upper body push testing today, and that is going to come in the form of push-ups. You guys are going to do a max effort unbroken set of push-ups every 2 minutes for 5 rounds. Now, when it comes to performing this, what I mean by unbroken is that we are staying in our push-up set. The qualifier there is going to be more than 1 breath or more than 2 seconds at a held plank position at the top before going down into that next rep. Now, this also comes with a qualifier. You technically don't want to be spending a ton of time trying to rest at the top of the plank position, because your rest is whatever time you don't spend working over the course of those 2 minutes. So the longer you hold yourself in that plank, the less rest you're going to get, the more your score is going to be hurt by that. The score for today, I want you guys to record all 5, but the score is the total accumulation of push-ups over the course of those 5 rounds. Second piece today is going to be our workout, and that's going to be 3 rounds. I want you guys to try and treat this like as much of a sprint as you can. 20 alternating dumbbell snatches. The weight as shown down here is 50 for the guys, 35 for the ladies. That shouldn't be that big of a deal, guys, when it comes to trying to push ourselves through this aggressively. The 30 Abmat Sit-ups for some people might get in the way or really slow us down. That's fine. Keep pushing through them the best we can. And then we have our 40 double unders. Qualifier here. If we don't really have double unders, so to speak, you can do them, but you can't do them well, and they're going to slow you down a pretty good amount. I want you guys to switch to a single under or whatever modification you want to do, or cut that double under number down to maybe 20 or something along those lines, so you are pushing, the heart rate stays up, and we're not spending a lot of time resting or kicking that rope, unfortunately. If you have any modification or demonstration concerns, stick around, and we'll go through those in a second. All right, we've been working on those 1.5 rep dumbbell bench press. Let's see if the transition correlation has been made to our pushing work capacity. So the push-up test, guys, is going to be a max effort unbroken set every 2 minutes for 5 rounds, meaning the time you have left in the 2 minutes will be your rest and recovery time. The top position, we're going to get the 2 sets here with a good top position and a bad top position, meaning if we are going to attempt to stop doing those push-ups in a cyclical manner, as long as it is 2 seconds or under, or a breath or under, as I'm going to demonstrate here. I think I'm going to do the breath first. That is a fine position. 1, take a breath, and back into it. 1, 2, back into it. Those are both acceptable. Now this one I'm going to do on the last set is going to be too long, and I'm going to shift myself out of my push-up position, thus breaking the set and ending that unbroken piece. Moving on to the next one at the next 2-minute point. And there's a shift. Alright guys, so the name of the game for today's WOD is speed and intensity. We're looking at 3 rounds. These 3 rounds are going to start with 20 alternating dumbbell snatches, 50-35 on the weight. Work on, if you have not done this yet, making a smooth aggressive transition on the way back down to the ground instead of setting that dumbbell down and making your transition already on the floor. It's going to allow us to be a little bit quicker. It's also going to allow us to push a little faster, get more work done in less time, thus improving our work capacity. All right, so on from the dumbbell snatches to the Abmat sit-ups. Now, I'm only going to do 15 here, and I want you guys to see 2 different things. I'm going to start with the feet together. So the soles of the feet together, knees out to the side. Notice shoulders, hands both touch the ground behind me. Hands touch the feet, and the shoulders come up over top of the hips. Now the feet are together, the knees are out, in order to prevent my hip flexors from doing too much work and make the core of the abdomen do the majority of it. Now the feet are on the ground. This is bringing the hip flexors into the equation
But one of the downfalls for some other people could be that in that foot together position, the lower back could create some tension and stiffen up, very similar to the bottom of a squat. So two different options, both good options. Neither one of them is better than the other, just something a little bit more specific or less specific for individual people. And finally, we are going to finish this after our 30 Abmat sit-ups with 40 double unders. Again, 3 rounds of 20, 30, 40, push, push, push. Stay tuned for movement modifications.
Alright guys, let's talk about our modifications for today. So that first piece, the push-ups. I'm not going to go through any modifications for equipment because if we have equipment we could probably handle the push-ups. I'm just going to talk about how we cut back or scale back those push-ups so that we're able to perform something with a relatively high set and we're not going to be ticking off 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rep sets. Alright, so there's 2 ways you guys can do this theoretically speaking. One of those is to drop down to the knees for a knee push-up. Right, so knees down on the ground. I like to have people pick the feet up just so their legs don't go down and that causes their spine to roll over the place. And from here, we're lowering ourselves through the full range of motion and pressing those elbows to extension, just like we would for the full push-up. Now, the other way we can do this is to put ab mats or something under the chest. I'm going to use this roller mostly because I only have one ab mat, so it's going to be easier for you guys to see this at home and actually show a difference in range of motion. This is going to allow me to do these push-ups on my feet, even though I don't have the strength to complete that, by raising the floor, so to speak, and shortening my range of motion. So I get myself in my push-up position on my feet, I lower down to that roller and push through from there. Lower down to that roller and push through from there. I don't want you to lay down and rest. I'm more or less just pausing there so I can keep talking to you guys. But the idea is that if we're resting or we're sitting on that, then we're resting in the set. We're not actually loading the shoulders, loading the chest, and pushing through. Okay. Now, when it comes to the workout, first let's go over these double unders. So you can go single unders, in which case 2 times isn't terrible, but it might not actually be that fast for some people. So qualify this. If you can go 80 singles, do them unbroken each time and keep pushing through them, go for it. If we need to cut that number down because 80 is going to be significant and that's going to cause you to have to break your sets and scale back or have rest in there, then I want you to cut that number back to maybe the 60, the 50, the 40 range, something along those lines. Second one, for the Abmat sit-ups, obviously this can also just be a sit-up on the ground. If we cannot do 90 total Abmat or sit-ups, I don't want you guys to shift into a crunch. That's a terrible range of motion movement. That's not really going to give us that much help. I would much rather you just cut the reps down or find a way to anchor your feet. So we can always stick the feet, if this was a dumbbell handle, we can always stick the feet under the dumbbell handle and use that to create a base for us so that we're not falling all over the place and we're anchored in. You can always hold onto a kettlebell by putting it between your feet and trying to grab it with the feet or something along those lines. But that is also a way of anchoring ourselves down to theoretically make ourselves a little stronger to scale that movement back. Now, these snatches themselves. So the dumbbell is how we prescribe the workout. A kettlebell is pretty much going to be the same exact thing. Obviously, there's some different function there, but the movement's going to be the same. We're going to score it the same. We're going to perform it the same for the most part. If we're looking at a difference in equipment, let's say maybe a barbell. Because I want this to be a cycle movement, because I want this to be a fast and aggressive movement, there's 2 ways I'm going to have you guys think about this. You can go with a power snatch or a muscle snatch from the ground, but I'm going to qualify the weights a little bit and the reps a little bit. If we're going with the power snatch, I want you to be able to work through it aggressively. Something along the lines of a 95-65, I would probably cut the reps down to 10. Something along the lines of a 75-55, I would probably keep the reps at 15. But I can also theoretically muscle snatch that 75-55 pretty easily. Therefore, it makes me a little faster. I cycle through it a little faster. So that's how those are going to play out. If we're not super fast and aggressive coming off the ground, a lot of people have a hard time with the power snatch range of motion below the knees. Feel free to take that and perform it as a hang power snatch or a hang muscle snatch, working through that way. in which case I would probably qualify the weights and the rep scheme to be about the same. Something in the 95 or maybe even 115 for the guys range, 65 to 75, possibly 85 for the ladies. That is something I probably want you to be in the 10 rep range for. And the reason why you guys might see that is because not everybody has 10 and 15 pound plates. Sometimes people just have their bar in 25 pound plates. If we do have those 10 or 15 pound plates, I'd probably rather you guys do that and perform the 20 reps. I think you're going to get more out of that. Cardiovascular, you're probably going to get more out of that. So that is probably the better choice.